And we bring you back live to the Chinese gambling colony of Macau, where it's time for a featherweight title fight between Vasily Lomachenko of Ukraine and Chonlatarn of Pіріяпіньйо of Thailand. You're saying, why is it of Pіріяпіньйо? There's no letter there to indicate that sound. Well, your guess is as good as ours, but according to Chonlatarn, the name is of Pіріяпіньйо.
The silent AW. What are you talking about, Jeff?
And how about the silent I at the end of Basil, okay? It's Vasily Lomachenko.
It's not exactly silent. It's the suggested AW and the suggested I, right?
That's right. Yeah, exactly whatever they are. But the bottom line of this Vasily Lomachenko against Chonlatarn of Pіріяпіньйо, and you see the 3-year age advantage for the Ukrainian fighter. 1.5-inch height advantage for him. Arm length advantage of 1 inch measured from the armpit to the end of the fist. And they both weighed in at 126 pounds. And here's Lomachenko, regarded by many as the greatest amateur fighter of all time. 396 wins, 1 loss as an amateur. That loss twice avenged. And only 3 fights as a professional, if you don't count the 6 fights in the World Series of Boxing. We've been over it before. Bottom line, he's the most precocious fighter of this age with this background ever to have appeared in the sport. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Venetian Macau Hotel Resort, the action continues, and it's all brought to you by Bob Arum's Top Rank Incorporated, along with MP Promotions and Foreman Boys Promotions, Joe DeGuardia's Star Boxing. Sponsored by Tecate Con Caracta and Empire. Coming to Fox in January 2015, when you mix music, family, and power, the battle begins. Don't miss Empire on Fox. Viber spelled with a V, our official messaging calling app, and the ringtone of the fight. Follow us on Viber. This bout is sanctioned by the PBCC, Executive Director Leon P. Panacilio Jr., and the World Boxing Organization President Francisco Paco Barcarcel, Supervisor for the WBO, Luis Perez. The 3 judges scoring this contest at ringside, Savin Lugumbe, Patrick Morley, and Michael Pernick. And inside the ring, in charge of the action at the bell, referee Luis Pabon. And now from the Venetian Macau, 12 rounds of boxing for the WBO Featherweight Championship of the World. Fighting out of the blue corner, wearing yellow, weighing in officially at 126 pounds. His professional record, an outstanding one. 51 victories, including 33 knockouts, only 1 defeat. From Chonburi, Thailand, the challenger, he's the WBO Asia Pacific champion, Chonlatarn Pіріяпіньйо. And fighting out of the red corner, wearing brown with gold, official weight 126 pounds. This 3-time amateur world champion and 2-time Olympic gold medalist captured a world title as a professional in just his 3rd professional contest. From Akraman, Ukraine, the reigning, defending WBO featherweight champion of the world, Dame y Господа, Vasily Lomachenko.
On TV, okay. Everybody's out, one him. One.
I translate.
No, don't
translate.
Go ahead, go. One, we hit, one. Okay, guys, I give you instruction in the dressing room. They're having a clean match, okay? Good luck. God bless you.
Pіріяpіньйо is the #1 contender in the sanctioning body, and but he was not due for a mandatory shot at the belt. Lomachenko told his people, I want to fight one of the other belt holders. They said none of them are available. He said, then get me the #1 contender. If he's not available, get me the #2 contender. If he's not available, the #3. Lomachenko wants to fight the best available featherweight every fight.
Exactly the mentality you might expect from a guy who won 2 Olympic gold medals, one at 125 pounds and then another at 132 pounds. won 2 world championship gold medals. One at 125 pounds and another at 132 pounds. And just to repeat the statistic because it's so astonishing, 397 amateur fights, 396 of them wins.
And the one loss was avenged. And
Twice.
as a pro, twice, and as a pro, so he got the better of it. And as a pro, the one loss was to a veteran, rugged fighter in Salido who came in way over the weight, rehydrated to way over that.
Had about a 20-pound functional weight advantage over Lomachenko in the ring.
Fouled Lomachenko 100 times, and I don't even think that's hyperbole, and was lucky that he held on and wasn't knocked out at the end of the fight. That's Lomachenko's one loss.
The bottom line is the guy's a great fighter. On the other hand, Pіріяпіньйо, as you pointed out, has 51 wins in 52 fights. The only loss was to Chris John, the Indonesian star who was a great technician. Now here he is against another great technician. You just saw Pіріяpіньйо throw a body shot with the left hand. That's his money punch. The left hook to the body is what wins fights for Chonlatarn or Pіріяpínьйо.
And Lomachenko is a guy who, if he feels his opponent, if he sees that the opponent can apply good pressure, will move if he has to. But if he sees something early on that tells him he needs to apply pressure, that's what he's going to do. He's a really versatile, well-rounded fighter. And here, Lomachenko's the aggressive pressure fighter.
Lomachenko in his last fight clearly defeated American Gary Russell Jr. in a fight in which Russell threw and threw and threw but couldn't find Lomachenko, landed at an exceptionally low percentage, and Lomachenko hammered him with body shots repeatedly, drove him into the ropes when he wanted to, generally dominated the fight.
Yeah, and I don't care how protected Russell has been.
Low
He's
blow
a
by
really
Lomachenko.
good, really fast fighter, and Lomachenko completely outclassed him.
Lomachenko got away with a low blow as referee Luis Pabon was apparently behind the wrong shoulder at that moment for the purpose of seeing it. So Lomachenko makes Pіріяpіньйо pay for some of the 100 or so low blows that he took from Orlando Salido.
How easily Lomachenko, oftentimes he's probing with that right foot to establish position. I don't think against Pіріяpіньйо he feels like he needs to probe with the foot, but he's always in position as a southpaw, meaning his front foot is outside of his opponent's front foot. Always in position as a southpaw to land his power punches.
Well, his footwork is so brilliant. He may be the first guy I've ever seen who can fake you with the front foot. He'll put it where you don't expect it to be and then put it in another place and fire the punch.
And now pay more attention. Sometimes you get too relaxed after you attack. You provoking him, he raises his arm, and after that you must be pay more attention so that it doesn't happen again. You must try to feel better, and after the attack be more careful and don't drop your arms.
Lomachenko's trainer is his father, Anatoly Lomachenko, the man who has taught him boxing and been with him, of course, his whole life. Pіріяpіньйо's trainer is Bobby Valaver, who works out of Hawaii, and you're going to see him in the next fight, as he's also the trainer to the Thai fighter who's the opponent for Zhao Shiming, Kwanpichit Wonsong Shaichin. And we're now joined at ringside by our expert commentator, Roy Jones, coming off of Jesse Vargas's victory in his first big showing as a trainer. And I'm sure we're going to see more.
Congratulations, Roy.
Thank you, guys.
Excellent performance by Vargas. And now we pick up round 2 of Vasily Lomachenko against Chonlatarn of Pіріяpіньйо.
Chonlatarn?
Chonlatarn of Pіріyapіньйо.
Chonlatarn.
Yep. You can call him Sean.
I'm going to call him Chonlatarn.
Pіріyapіньjо landed a couple of left hooks to the body in the first round. That's his money punch. But generally speaking, It was another display of Lomachenko's footwork, hand skills, general all-around aptitude for the game. He's a great boxer, even at this very early stage of his career, Roy.
Yeah, you can't really call it an early stage of his career. You call it early stage of his American professional career, but it's not really the early stage of his career. Anytime you got 400 amateur fights, there's no such thing as early in your career.
Try this, 400 amateur fights,
and
one
only
loss,
lost one, exactly.
And then he beats the guy twice in rematches.
So there's no way this is considered early in your career. It's early in your American professional career, but that's about it.
With 2 Olympic gold medals and 1 award for being the best fighter in the Olympic Games. I mean, this guy is as sensational an amateur background as anyone who's ever lived.
There's enough Olympic and World Championship hardware in the building here tonight to sink a Chinese junk. And by the way, that's not a bar, but the Chinese, that's a name for a boat. But when you consider 2 World Championships and 2 gold medals for Lomachenko, 2 gold medals and a bronze medal, and 2 World Championship golds and a silver medal for Zhou Shiming. And then, of course, the gold medal that Roy Jones was not given at Seoul in 1988. That's a lot of medals.
That's a whole lot of medals.
Roy, very few fighters can throw that right hook the way Lomachenko just did, or even a left hook, so quickly with accuracy and power as soon as he sees the opening.
Yeah, what I like about what Lomachenko is doing right now is he's throwing pity-pat punches to set up the real punches, meaning he's not putting all of his power on every shot. If you do that, that enables you to set up the big shots and take full advantage like that when he does see a clean shot. And while he's already moving, he has potential energy, so it's much easier to duck and dodge like that out of that movement.
He counters so quickly. His counter punches arrive so fast that sometimes they look like leads. And it looks as though he's dictating the action when in fact he's counterpunching because he's countering that fast. December 6th, Boxing After Dark returns with a triple header headlined by Montreal knockout machine David Lemieux against Gabe Rosado. Also that night, Tomas Dulorme faces Hank Lundy and Hugo Centeno against James De La Rosa.
Hey, boxer close. Body. Okay.
Body.
Work with the body. Okay, what?
Yes.
Okay.
Punch to body.
Back in.
Put more jab.
Good jab. Don't wait. Let it go. He's fine. Look,
don't have to wait.
Coming too close to you. Let body.
On the left, Tatiana Lomachenko. On the right, Anastasia Lomachenko, his mother and his sister. This marks the first time that either has been to one of his American professional fights. Come to think of it, maybe it's a shorter trip for them to have come to Macau from Ukraine than it would have been to go to, say, Las Vegas from Ukraine. Or Carson, California, where he fought Gary Russell Jr.
Lomachenko's timing and rhythm are unbelievable. I mean, if he throws something, it's with an intention, Roy, and it does what he intends it to do.
Yes, it is. Everything he throws is with great intention, and like you said, it does exactly whatever he intends for it to do. The thing that I also like about Lomachenko is the fact that he doesn't stay right in front of the guy. You see him, he's either going to the right or he's circling to the left. He never backs all the way up to the ropes before he makes his change to go left or right. Like right here, you see him going to the right now. Right now, he'll go to the right again.
Alternates circling to the left, which is away from Pіріяпіньйо's left hook to the body, and then sometimes circling back to the right, forcing Pіріяпіньйо to try to time that left hook to the body. It's not easy to do.
No, he hurt him that time with that body shot, I think.
Same way he hurt Orlando Salido in the 12th round with a body shot. Same way he hurt Gary Russell 2 or 3 times with body shots. Here he goes again, digging to the body. That was a big left hand by Lomachenko to the gut.
Because he knows Chonlatarn is hurt to the body.
Lomachenko is one of those matrix fighters, Roy. I always thought of you this way, maybe the ultimate example of it, where he, I mean, do you see the other guy in slow motion? It looks to me as though he's watching the other guy, and the other guy is going in slow motion from his point of view.
It is from our point of view because we're making him do what we want him to do. Therefore, he is in slow motion because we're already 5 steps ahead of his next move. So we make him do exactly what we want him to do, and it seems like he's in slow motion because we're already reacting to what we know he has to do.
Like an anticipation of the future.
Pretty much what it is.
And that explains Lomachenko's positioning when he throws his punches, his ability to not clash the head, even as a southpaw, to avoid the ropes with his back, to move just enough where his punches land with the full intended effect.
And Chonlatarn is good at using his arms to block some of those body shots. He can't move his hands down there quick enough to block them, so he's blocking them with his arms. That's not a bad move for a guy that we haven't seen much of.
Moment to moment, you can feel Chonlatarn Piriapiñyo's focus on that left hook to the body. He's thinking, okay, when can I land my money shot? This is what I've got to do to have any chance in the fight. Lunging right hands won't help him. His jab isn't much. He's got one punch.
And that's his hook.
Well, he was being beaten and outclassed by Chris John, but then came back to have some moments in that fight. Chris John, even at his best, does not look to me the class of Lomachenko right now.
Manny Pacquiao's mother, Dionisia. They share profound religious faith. Though Manny now attends a different church than that which she goes to. She complained about that publicly last year in the Philippines. Everything about Manny Pacquiao is public in the Philippines. Chonlatarn Piriapiñyo looked dizzy as he went back to the round, to his corner at the end of the last round.
Yeah, he was very hurt from the head shots and the body shots. The things are starting to show up now. That's what a good fighter does. He beats you over a period of time.
Harold, how'd he have it through three?
Okay, Jim, very easy. 3-0, 30-27, Vasily Lomachenko. You know, Jim, I never saw a guy that's so ambidextrous. He snaps that right jab. He hits you hard with the left hand. I mean, it's incredible. Lands a million punches. You know, either hand, he's just unbelievable. And his ring generalship, beyond compare. He puts the guy where he wants to put him, controls the action. You know, he's got the fight just where he wants it, in the middle of the ring, and he's giving him a beating. 3-0, Lomachenko.
The more you watch him, the more you begin to appreciate what Roy Jones explained in the last round. His hands are so fast because his mind has already thrown the punch. He's already constructed whatever motion he's involved in before his body goes there.
Before it goes there. That's also from repetitions in the gym. If you
That's it.
Repetitively
it's the years and years and years.
For years and years.
I mean, he turns into Willie Pep all of a sudden.
Well, no other guy you know in boxing would have took that onslaught and his back not have touched the ropes. He made a 3/4 of a circle, maybe a 360 even, around the ring without his back ever touching the ropes.
But we've seen, you know, he was Jeff Fennick a little bit in this fight, and then all of a sudden he's Willie Pep in this fight. He's a combination throwing pressure fighter. He's a power punching pot shotter, and then all of a sudden he's a fleet-footed escape artist.
And he has hurt Piriapiñyo again with a body shot. And he created some stationary, position here for Piriapiñyo. Feet stopped moving after Lomachenko landed the hammering body shot, and Lomachenko found an advantage and took advantage of it upstairs.
Piriapiñyo takes a heck of a punch.
He sure does.
And Lomachenko is giving him some heck of a punches.
Yeah. So the question is, how many heck punches can he take?
Well, his job is to wear this guy down, continuously punch on him until one of them hits him and he hits the canvas. If that doesn't happen, then he just hit on him all night long.
Piriapiñyo, you got to give credit because he's applying real pressure and making Lomachenko work after a situation where a lot of fighters might not even be in the fourth round.
Yeah, to Piriapiñyo's credit, he's smart enough to keep the pressure on after Lomachenko onslaughts him like this.
Fantastic uppercut. Amazing uppercut began that series of punches. And then Lomachenko landed about 8 more to put Piriapiñyo down. That's the first time in 53 fights that Piriapiñyo has been on the canvas.
And that's the first time in 53 fights that he's seen Vasily Lomachenko.
That's it.
Pay very close attention to Lomachenko, everybody. This is a special fighter. Even by special fighter standards, you're watching something special.
Hey! Hey! Don't do much pressure. I don't like pressure. Hey! Hey! Don't listen. Listen to me, okay? Good one night.
Прижался, смотри внимательно, чтобы не было головой, вот тянет. Четко. Снизу пролазит хорошо. Посмотри, он после твоей атаки опять же бросает боковой.
Here you see Lomachenko land a beautiful right uppercut from the outside, followed by a left hand and a good cross hook. Then he comes back and throws a 1-2-3, well, a looping right hook, followed by 2 more to keep him backing up. And once he straightens up, bam, there's the overhand left, and down he goes. And Chonlatarn got up like he didn't have no problems.
Coming into this fight, Vasily Lomachenko had 28 American professional rounds of boxing behind him. Chonlatarn Pіріяпіньйо has been in the ring for 367 professional rounds, and Lomachenko is schooling him.
Well, Chonlatarn hasn't been to two Olympic Games.
Right, that's the difference.
Chonlatarn doesn't have 2 gold medals.
Chonlatarn wasn't voted the best boxer at the 2008 Seoul Olympics.
And we probably couldn't find Chonlатtarn's other rounds on Wikipedia if we checked.
And on top of all that, Lomachenko is just genetically like he's laced with fast twitch muscles. You can see it. His hands move fast. His reaction and reflexes are super quick.
Just hurt Chonlattarn again.
This is becoming target practice for Lomachenko.
The only weakness I see in Lomachenko maybe is his face tends to mark up from not too much contact.
Well, he's got a mark on the left cheek. And given what we've seen of Pіріяпіньйо's right hand, I'm guessing that's the result of head contact between Lomachenko and Pіріяпіньйо, because, you know, that happens quite frequently when you've got a southpaw against a conventional fighter. Particularly a conventional fighter who has to dip and throw to the body.
Roy,
to make damage.
Does that remind you of anybody just then?
Yes, it did.
When he throw four shots?
4 or 5 with his weak hand
with his weak hand moving in the opposite direction?
I mean, with a strong hand, but, you know, it's the weaker combination hand.
By the way, he's naturally right-handed. He's one of the many who was turned around at an early age so that the supposedly stronger hand, or the lead hand, is in front. Well, you know, Harold had the right point before. He's ambidextrous.
Well, that was his weak hand then.
Yeah. I mean, the leather he's landing with his left-hand shots. I don't think we've seen him throw with that kind of sustained power to this point in his career.
You know, well, he hasn't had to. He hasn't had a guy like this guy in front of him.
Right. Gary Russell was much faster.
Yeah, who takes a good body shot by Chonlattarn.
Yeah, very good body shot by Pіріяпіньйо. And he tries for another one.
Just saw Nicholas Walters destroy Nonito Donaire. Featherweight division has a very interesting matchup on its hands in Lomachenko and Walters.
Very strong division.
Yep. And Lomachenko told us he felt the stiffest challenge in the division is Johnny Gonzalez. But he doesn't really recognize Guillermo Rigondeaux, because Rigondeaux's at 122 pounds. He thinks Rigondeaux's too small. But Rigondeaux's right there.
I think Rigondeaux's a little small too, but that's a wonderful fight.
I agree.
4 gold medals.
Mr. High Tech, Chris Algieri, stretching it out in the dressing room. Getting the muscles loose. A daytime shot, and it is daytime here, outside in Macau.
И хорошо получается. Передняя, задняя, за переднюю. Он проваливается.
Official attendance inside the building here today, 13,201, sold out. Largest crowd for an event yet to take place in this building. That means a bigger crowd than a year ago when Manny Pacquiao headlined the pay-per-view card against Brandon Rios here in the same arena. There are also 1,000 people watching on closed circuit, as we call it, in an adjoining room. So 14,000 plus live today in Macau, along with all of those of you in the United States who are watching on Saturday night.
Now against Salido, who is a big pressure fighter, we saw Lomachenko get better as the fight wore on, as though he became more energetic in the second half of the fight. Here, though, he's fought at a faster pace early, much more offensive-minded early. We'll see what happens if this fight continues on into the second half.
I mentioned it's a strong division, and some of the names have already come up. Lomachenko has a title belt. Johnny Gonzalez has a title belt. Nicholas Walters took one from Nonito Donaire October 18 in Carson, California. Evgeny Gradovich has a title belt, and you'll see him next week on the undercard of the Terrence Crawford fight in Omaha, Nebraska. Hard left hand by Lomachenko, up and under. He's landed that shot 2 or 3 times to good effect.
And although I agree with Roy that Rigondeaux is his smaller size means Lomachenko's favorite there, that might be the best matchup of all.
Great skill matchup.
And when you ever had a chance to see two-time gold medalists fight against one another? We very rarely get to see 2 gold medalists fight one another.
Who, by the way, both have a chance to be the best pound-for-pound fighter in boxing in the not-too-distant future. Meantime, while Pіріяпіньйо still there, still pressuring, still throwing real shots.
You got to give him credit, son. He's taking some real punches tonight, and he keeps coming right back.
Well, not exactly a luxury life for Chonlatarn Pіріяпіньйо. Comes from a small town in Thailand. His parents had a farm. They grew vegetables on the farm, sold them or bartered them for the things that they needed. Lomachenko hammering him against the ropes.
Looked like he took his sparring lessons getting kicked by a cow, because he's taking some shots here that have to be almost equivalent to getting kicked by a cow.
A small cow. A featherweight cow.
More like a racehorse, a thoroughbred.
Yeah, that's a good analogy for Lomachenko.
Well, the arms are a little short for a horse, though. That's why I went with the cow.
Pіріяпіньйо got in his left hook to the body and landed it with authority. Every once in a while, he makes that dent. December 13, Timothy Bradley, coming off his defeat against Manny Pacquiao, takes on another tough customer in Diego Chavez. You saw him earlier this year against Brandon Rios. Also that night, Mauricio Herrera, some believe deserved credit for a win over Danny Garcia in Puerto Rico earlier this year, faces Jose Benavides, and Matt Korobev against Andy Lee. A couple of southpaws, neither of them tremendously difficult to hit. That could be a hellacious fight.
No more uppercut. Hey. Uppercut, okay? Body. We get time, okay? We get time. Body, go to the body.
Не заряжайся. Повтор, хорошо идет.
Harold Letterman, how do you have it through 6?
Okay, Jim, I've got it 60-53, 6-0, Vasily Lomachenko. You know, Jim, you got to give Vasily an extra point to round 4 for the knockdown, so that becomes a 10-8 round. That gives him an extra point. He's pitching a shutout so far. Jim, let me point something out to you. Thai fighters in general, I mean, I'm generalizing, all have very, very strong legs. The reason being is they started out in Muay Thai, which is, you know, a sport where you can kick your opponent. If you look at Chonlatarn, he definitely has very, very strong legs. Very typical of Thai fighters. 6-0, Lomachenko.
I told you he had been used to some kicks.
Yeah, he could use some Muay Thai elbows right now to help him out. Something.
He spent 8 years in Muay Thai before he took up boxing. The fighter you'll see in the next fight against Zhou Shiming, Juan Pichit Wansong Shaijim, spent an even longer time in kickboxing before he took up boxing. Both of them said to us that boxing was rougher than Muay Thai.
No, it's interesting. It's Lomachenko, though, who reminds me in certain respects more of a Muay Thai or Krav Maga or some kind of self-defense art where he just continues to throw punches, sometimes off the technically wrong foot, Roy, but he is more interested in landing the shot than doing something that would be textbook boxing.
Well, I think everything he does is pretty much textbook boxing. It's just that he's a great boxer who also can fight. And he can do both things. So you see a little bit of him boxing, you see a little bit of him really sitting down and trying to punch. He can do it all. He's a complete fighter. He's the total package. You don't get to see that too often.
CompuBox tells us that Vasily Lomachenko has not thrown a left-hand punch in this entire round. Normally, that means that the hand has been damaged. And he's landed some very big left-hand shots, particularly uppercuts and left crosses coming in on an upward angle. And he's not throwing with the left hand anymore, Roy.
He may have hurt he may have hurt his hand on the head of Piriapiñyo's. He has a big head up front for a small guy, which means he probably is used to taking it, putting it down and coming forward with it. And if he brought his head forward while Lomachenko was coming forward for a punch, he could have injured Lomachenko's hand.
This sounds very counterintuitive to most people. Some skulls are harder than others.
Yes.
And here you got to be careful with that right hand throwing it over the top like that.
Yeah, it's hurt for sure.
Yeah,
he just hurt
the
again.
left hand, and now he holds the left wrist, and then he pops Piriapiñyo twice with the right hand as if to say, see, I can beat you with one hand.
But there he had a left open and he didn't take it. And here's the pro game. This is not 3 rounds. This is not 3 rounds you have to go through this with. This is 12 rounds. And suddenly the fight is very interesting.
So the thing that people want to do. Лево и сдай правой. Ты понял? Группировка разворота.
Use your right.
Руки на месте.
Excuse me, 8 rounds.
Keep your arms in place and stand. Stay facing him and then turn left.
А если открытый бьешь, тоже побаливает.
If you throw an open punch, does it hurt as well? Just show him this and then lift it up a little bit like this. Keep it open. Keep
So
your
you heard
arms
the
in
discussion
place.
about the left hand. You see Lomachenko's mother and sister watching. In the past, in at least one situation, we've seen an Eastern European athlete retire because of this. Eastern European athletes have come to learn in recent years that this sport is largely dominated by the economics of the United States, and in American culture, you fight to the finish, meaning at this point, you go forward with one hand. That, for the moment, is what Lomachenko's doing.
He's got 5 rounds to go against a determined fighter with only 1 loss in over 50 fights. The fighter obviously knows that Lomachenko's hand is no good.
Lomachenko clips him with a right hook.
Yeah, this where that 400 fight amateur experience will come in handy, because now he'll know how to survive with one hand, which most guys probably couldn't do in this situation, but he should have no problem with it.
Well, so long as that other hand holds up.
And if the fight has been scored properly through the first 7 rounds, he doesn't necessarily have to be seen as the winner in the rounds to make it to the end of the fight as the winner in the fight. Piriapiñyo doesn't have enough rounds left to make up the gap.
Unless he can score a knockdown.
Right. Or a stoppage. When you know that the guy only has 1 weapon, now Piriapiñyo can try to concentrate on taking just the right hand away. And meantime, Piriapiñyo has 2 hands. And if he has a hard enough head that Lomachenko broke 1 hand already, who's to say he doesn't
break
hurt
the other
one? Right.
Well, I think that Lomachenko is smart enough to know that if you broke 1 hand, don't throw the other one full speed or at full power, because you could break the other one, and you can't win. This is not Muay Thai. You cannot win this fight using your feet.
When this happened against Mickey Ward in the second fight for Arturo Gatti. He shook the right hand, left it dangling at his side for about 30 seconds, and then went back to throwing it, which was stunning. Some fighters say it hurts for a while and then it stops hurting if you keep throwing it. Lomachenko may not have had that experience. He's not throwing the left at all.
Well, Mickey Ward had no choice. Lomachenko is so talented.
You mean Arturo Gatti?
Excuse me, Gatti had no choice. Right, Gatti, of course, had no choice, especially in the middle of that fight. Lomachenko is so talented, he can try to do this, as Roy said, as Roy has done with one hand.
Looking back at all our biographical material on Lomachenko, we know of no other serious injury, so this may be the first time that he's attempted to compete through an injury of this nature.
Oh, he threw a left hand just
Nobody throw.
17 punches landed by Lomachenko in this round, according to CompuBox, all of them with the right hand. He's not even feinting with the left.
No, he threw it one time.
Yeah, we've seen Floyd Mayweather take a knee as a knockdown earlier in his career because his hand hurt so much in the middle of a fight and went on to win that fight.
Were you trying to punch with your left again? Don't show your left. Just punch from underneath with your right. It is functional. Is that okay? Just try to show him that you are punching from underneath with your left. Just show your left hand and then punch with your right. And don't punch too hard. Be economical. You still have four rounds to go with him. You understand? Just be economical. Save your energy from underneath, from the side.
Vasily largely expressionless as always through all of that instruction by his father.
Out.
His father urging him, show the left hand, feint with the left hand, but throw the right.
He didn't like that one left that Vasily threw. Anything can happen in boxing. I mean, Lomachenko completely outclassing Pіріяпіньйо.
Go ahead.
Cruising. We're discussing other featherweight matchups, and then all of a sudden, he loses the function of one arm and has to try to now survive, and he continues to win rounds, in fact, against a determined challenger.
Way back in 1986, in a heavyweight fight in Nevada, I saw Terrell Biggs beat Jeff Sims with one arm. Usually, it's better if the lead arm is the one that isn't broken, and that's the case for Lomachenko. If his right hand were broken, he'd probably be in a far more difficult situation.
A much more difficult situation.
Okay. You okay?
And you see the blood coming from the nose of Pіріяпіньйо, is even with only one hand, Lomachenko is able to draw blood from Pіріяпіньйо here in round number 9 of a scheduled 12.
I wonder if it was Lomachenko's right hand if he wouldn't switch around and fight orthodox. He seems like the kind of guy who maybe could pull that off.
He probably could.
Well, we've described him as Superman, so it seems like he could pull almost anything off, but he's human, like all fighters, and this is a new situation. Throws the left hand twice, throws it twice more, throws another left hand. Suddenly the left hand comes back. Let's see how his father feels about that.
Do we know that it's the hand and not the wrist?
We don't know.
Because he was pointing to the forearm area towards the wrist earlier, shaking that out.
Nobody threw.
Well, it's probably more damaging over the long haul to punch with a broken wrist than with a broken hand. Neither is going to be fun, but he's throwing the left again routinely, frequently. Not throwing it with any power at all, but there it is.
What it'll do, it'll eventually set up a great left hook if he continues to stick it out like that.
Right hook, you mean?
Right hook, I mean, yes. There he turned right hand for a minute.
Squares up, uses the left hand to sort of jab with it, and now fires a power shot with the right. And there's the right hook that you were looking for, Roy.
Usually, if you pity-pat with that straight left hand, it'll open up a right hook.
But that would seem to be what he's doing. Lomachenko inventing on the fly in the middle of round 9.
You see this with special athletic fighters also, where they maintain that kind of electric energy in every round. They don't let their opponent back in the fight because they suddenly become flat in the middle of a fight. And that's Lomachenko.
Looked like Lomachenko won that round. And now, let's take a look at a gathering of action heroes in Manny Pacquiao's dressing room.
The governors talking to the congressmen, or the former governors talking to the current congressmen.
Manny Pacquiao up for re-election in May of 2016. He says he expects to be unopposed. Sylvester Stallone, to our knowledge, has not yet run for office. Only one of the three. Round 10 of a scheduled 12. Vasily Lomachenko in the black trunks with blue trim has dominated the fight against Chonlatarn Pіріяпіньйо of Thailand, but he's fought the last few rounds apparently with a broken left hand. Harold Letterman, how do you have it so far?
So I've got it 9-0, 90-80 Vasily Lomachenko. I tell you, you talk about winning a fight with one hand. This guy is really winning a fight with one hand. I mean, it's amazing. Since he hurt that left hand, he's doing a terrific job with the right. He moves beautifully. He avoids Chonlатtarn's punches, and he keeps on scoring with that right hand. I mean, you see, comes in hard. It comes in fast. He piles up points with that right hand. Amazing. But I got to tell you, nobody fought through pain like Arturo Gatti. You were right when you said that. 9-0, Vasily Lomachenko.
Glad I was right. Hate to be wrong. Thank you very much, Harold. 2 minutes to go in round 10. Chonlattarn Pіріяпіньйо trying to get something done with his body punching, which is his bread and butter. But throughout the fight, he's been dominated by the quickness, the hand speed, the foot skill, the amazing overall talent of Vasily Lomachenko.
Whose leg just came up? Someone's leg came up.
Lomachenko's leg came up.
Yeah, I think Pіріяпіньйо need his leg, or their knees may have collided.
Look that way.
And that happens with opposite-handed fighters a lot. The legs get tangled. The heads usually butt. Hasn't happened here yet.
How fast Lomachenko can move and create an angle. Jim, you often talk about Manny Pacquiao's footwork, the best in sports, but Lomachenko gives him some run in that department, I think.
Well, but you've mentioned Rigondeaux, who also has amazing footwork. It would surely be interesting to see the two. Lomachenko just a little bit more stationary in this round and giving Pіріяпіньйо more chances to land his left hook to the body. But that's an attrition punch. That's a wear you down over the long haul punch. And Pіріяпіньйо has not landed enough of them to really put a dent in Lomachenko's armor coming in.
Lomachenko better be careful with those right hands coming in over the top, Roy.
Yes. But I think he has everything under control now, so I don't think he has anything to worry about. And I must say, Lomachenko did show improvement in this fight, Max. When we first seen him in the first couple of fights, he was not good at throwing long-distance punches. This fight, he threw some long-distance punches. So he is improving as he progresses in his professional career. Because like that, he wasn't really big on doing those type of combinations when we first saw him fight. Everything was looping around or very close to his body.
You get the feeling he learns from every round. Next Saturday, hometown hero and lightweight title holder Terrence Crawford faces Ray Beltran from Omaha, Nebraska. Also that night, featherweight belt holder Evgeny Gradovich, as I mentioned, one of the 4 belt holders in the division in which you're watching Lomachenko compete right now, takes on Jason Velez. Gradovich, the Siberian Rocky Ruslan Provodnikov's college roommate, fights in the same style. Take no prisoners.
Body, okay? 1, 2, body. 1 to the body, okay?
มึงถอยนะมึงถอยเราสวนเฮ้ยหน้ามึงก้มๆนะมึงรอสวนหนักนะรู้ป่ะไล่ไม่ทันรู้ป่ะ
Hey, move your head, okay? You jab. This is 2 more minutes. Okay? Double jab.
Unless that's his common late fight expression, Pіріяпіньйо looks discouraged to me. As he comes out for the 11th.
Box.
As though he's been to a different world. You can just imagine him in the dressing room later saying, hey, I thought Chris John was good.
And Chris John was good, but there's a difference between a good, steady, long-reigning titleist and a guy who believes you're watching something out of the ordinary whenever you see him fight.
Uppercut with the lead hand by Lomachenko. Tries to land it again, just misses.
And he's using that uppercut like a straight right hand now. That's his power shot.
Exactly.
That's the one he's using to say, hey, I still can knock you out. If I land this left uppercut, right uppercut, you may have problems.
Fascinating how he's taken your implicit advice, Roy, to use the left hand as a decoy, throw it, pity-pat with it, use it to set up right-hand power shots. He was doing that brilliantly 2 rounds ago. Now he's back to being able to use the right hand as a power shot without even having to feint with the left. There he is.
He's actually using the left now here and there with just enough sting to discourage Pіріяпіньйо from believing he's strictly a one-armed fighter.
The way he switches feet on the inside to set up a punching angle, it's just amazing, really. You just don't see this.
That and the amazing footwork. Great balance.
Timing.
Keeps the feet separated. I love it.
You could watch this all day.
Yeah, I could.
If you like boxing, you could watch it all day.
Tell you what, if he had a left hand, this fight would be over already.
Yeah.
Because right there, he would have landed that overhand left again. And right there as well.
Uses the left to the body.
I think he just hurt him to the body with the left hand.
No, he did.
Now he's throwing the left with authority to the body. Still not using it upstairs with authority, but he throws it into the midsection. Thinks he can get away with it. It's been fascinating to watch him experiment with the left hand as he's gone along. What a mind.
Again, Pіріяпіньйо has had a shot at the lineal featherweight championship, acquitted himself pretty well in that fight against Chris John, all things considered, has had over 50 professional fights, is the #1 contender in a sanctioning body, and you can dismiss any of those things, but you put them all together and he can handle himself.
And he got a chance to fight against Vasilie Lomachenko for 5 full rounds, assuming they'll go through the 12th, with Lomachenko largely as a one-handed fighter, and he's still been outclassed.
Hasn't won a round.
А потом уже ударь справа. Что ты не делаешь? Сделай разворот влево. Пойдет. Почему не можешь? Ты стань фронтально.
Look at those numbers. What a stunning exhibition.
Ты стань фронтально, тогда пойдет. You okay? Ты понял? You okay? That's round. One. Теперь протягивай повторы. Съем, хорошо пойдет. Last round, okay?
Here's what we think happened. We think early in the 7th round, they had a small head collision there. Lomachenko threw that left hand right there, followed by that left hand, and that's the one we think caused the damage, because right there he backed up, he shook the left hand, and he hasn't really thrown it with authority since then.
Great job in the tape room, combing through the visual details of the fight to find the moment and finding it.
This is round 12, final round.
3 minutes to go. Vasilie Lomachenko trying to finish off a virtuoso performance, fighting down the stretch with one hand against a hard guy, Chonlatarn Pіріяпіньyо. Once again, the name begins with a P, but it's pronounced Pіріяpіньyо. Go figure.
And as we mentioned earlier, what a fortunate circumstance to have a guy, maybe, you know, you could argue the greatest amateur resume ever. I mean, certainly it's it's in the conversation in Lomachenko, who, when you just look at his talent and where he is already in his professional career, he's potentially in the not too distant future a pound for pound #1 spot contestant. To be in a division where Nicholas Walters just looks so impressive against Donaire. You mentioned Gradovic earlier, Jim, Gonzalez, and Rigondeaux sitting right there at 122, 4 pounds south. I mean, the potential opponents for Lomachenko and the fights that can be made, any permutation of those guys is an excellent fight.
Lomachenko's 26 years old. We may be watching him for 10 or 15 years. What a treat. Between rounds, our interpreter in Lomachenko's corner tells us that his father, Anatoly Lomachenko, said to him, you can throw the left in this round, just don't throw it to the head. So what has Vasily done? He came out in the first minute and threw it 3 or 4 times to the head of Chonlatarn Pіріяпіньйо.
Hey, his dad said he could throw it.
Head, body, I can't tell the difference, Dad.
I was just throwing it, and his head got in the way.
Uppercut, straight left hand. Brilliant. Jab. Takes an Pіріяпіньйо jab. That's the best jab all night.
That's why his father didn't want him throwing it. Look, Pіріяpіньйо lowered his head, and the left hand landed right on the front of the skull.
Ran into that forehead.
Another amazing display of combination punching. This is breathtaking stuff, really.
With defense built in. Hurt the left hand again. Yep.
Shaking the left hand, shaking the left hand, firing with the right.
Father knows best.
But the good thing is he has father time beat right now because he only has 1 round left.
He's only got 25 seconds left. He's outlanded Pіріяpіньйо by more than 280 punches in the fight.
I think Pіріяpіньйо just landed the best right hand he landed all night long. And it did absolutely nothing to Lomachenko.
He's been thinking, I waited for that. Now, frankly, Pіріяpіньйо doesn't get any leverage on the right hand anyway. It's his left to the body that's given him 51 wins in his career, and it didn't win him this one, as Vasily Lomachenko puts on a show in Macau.
You see Lomachenko being hard-headed and threw the left hand to the hard head, and look what happened to him.
Okay, Dad, I guess you were right. Came in with a record of 2 wins, 1 loss. Most likely going to go to 3 wins, 1 loss. Definitely the best 3-win, 1-loss fighter anywhere in the world in boxing. Maybe the best in history.
Very special fighter, Lomachenko.
Head-shaking stuff. Harold Letterman's unofficial scorecard, 120 to 107. Harold, who are the 3 official judges?
Okay, Jim, I'll bet you anything you want that me and the 3 judges have the same exact score. Let's get to the judges. Salvin Lagumbe, also a local judge, had Terence Crawford over Ricky Burns. That was the right score in Glasgow, Scotland, when Terence won the title. Patrick Morley from Chicago, Illinois. Good judge. You had Evgeny Gradovic winning over, well, you saw the name, and that was the right score. And Michael Pernick, one of my favorite judges in the entire world, does a good job all the time. From Delray Beach, Florida, had Carl Frosch, well, he had George Groves winning the fight with Carl Frosch the second time they fought. That was the right score.
Even though Frosch knocked Groves out moments later.
Yeah.
Let's go to Michael Buffer and hear if Harold's right that it's 3-120 to 107.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at the Venetian Macau, we go to the scorecards. All 3 judges, Michael Pernick, Patrick Morley, and Salvin Lagumbe, all score at the same 120 to 107, all to the winner by unanimous decision, and still WBO World Champion Vasily Lomachenko.
So glad I didn't bet you that Maserati, Harold. It was right on the tip of my tongue. You would be driving a Maserati next Thursday. Final CompuBox numbers. Lomachenko landing 282 more punches, throwing more than 1,000 of them, and more than 500 more than Pіріяпіньйо, and doubling Pіріyapiñyo's connect percentage. By the way, he landed virtually every hard shot in the fight.
Where were those 86 punches Pіріyapiñyо landed? I didn't see them.
Okay, well, here's Punch Zone to show you that. Here are the punches that CompuBox found Pіріyapiñyо landing, probably with a microscope. And as you can see, 48 of them were upstairs and 38 of them were downstairs. And here are the punches that Lomachenko landed on Pіріyapiñyо. And they had to do a lot of counting to get this done at CompuBox. And as you can see, only 59 of them were body shots. It seemed like more than that. But he found the target upstairs over and over and over. Part of the Pearl River Delta